Hello guys, welcome to my lecture series of high voltage engineering. Today is the very first lecture of this subject, and in this video we are going to learn about electrostatic field and field stress control. Fine. So today's lecture will be quite introductory, in which we will see different phenomena and equations on which the whole study of high voltage engineering is governed. So first of all we will see some introduction, then we will derive Poisson's and Laplace's equation, which is very famous in electrical engineering as far as the distribution of electrostatic field is concerned. You have also might studied the same equations in field theory also. Fine. So the same thing will be covered over here. Then we will understand about the dielectric strength of any insulating material, and finally the field distribution and the breakdown strength. So how the breakdown strength of any insulating material depends on the distribution of field, that will also be understood with the help of a simple experiment. Okay, so let us start. So in modern times, high voltages are used for a wide variety of applications, covering the power systems, industry, and research laboratories. Now we are witnessing that as far as the power system has emerges, the level of voltage is increased. So nowadays all the transmissions are carried out in extra high voltage limits, fine, in 756 or 765 kilovolt. In industry also there are many applications in which high voltages are required, and obviously in the research laboratories, basically of biomedical research laboratories. So the voltages up to 100 kV are used in electrostatic precipitators, in automobile ignition coils, etc. And the X-ray equipments for medical and industrial applications also uses the high voltages. So electrostatic precipitators, you will find it in a chimney of any huge industry or thermal power plant. So it will basically clean the flue gases and keep us the healthy atmosphere. Fine. The ignition coil of automobile also works on a high voltage, and X-ray in medical science also works on the principle of high voltage. So these are the things. The industry spray or spray painting also requires the high voltage. Modern high voltage test laboratories employ voltages up to 6 megavolts or more. The diverse conditions under which a high voltage apparatus is used necessitate the careful design of its insulation and the electrostatic field profiles. The principal media of insulation used are gaseous, vacuum, solid, and liquid, or a combination of this. So in any application, either we will use the gas insulation or vacuum as an insulation, solid or liquid. Fine. Or we may have the combination of solid and gas, fine, solid and vacuum, etc. Then for achieving reliability and economy, a knowledge of causes of deterioration is essential, and the tendency to increase the voltage stress for optimum design calls for a judicious selection of insulation in relation to the dielectric strength, corona discharge, and other relevant factors. So, in a nutshell, we must know the tendency of dielectric strength of any insulating material as well as the effect of field distribution on its breakdown strength. So the combined knowledge of these two will help us to design a product that will be reliable, so that will function as per our desired design, and it will also be economical if we also possess the knowledge of materials as well. Okay, so like in mechanical designs where the criteria for design depends on the mechanical strength of the material and the stresses that are generated during the operation. In high voltage applications, the dielectric strength of any insulating material and the electric field stress that is being developed in the operation is the main criteria of design. So if someone is going to design a simple suspension type insulator, fine. So what will be the thing? So he must look after the strength of this, either it will be of mica or ceramic or resins if modern insulator will be there, fine. So he must look after the strength of this material, as well as whenever this suspension type insulator is in operation. So here is a conductor, let us say we have 33 kV line over here, fine. This is the cross arm and this is the tower body. So tower body and cross arm both will be grounded because it is directly in contact with ground. Okay, so at this moment when 33 kV line voltage is there in any conductor, what will be the distribution of field? So that field distribution, we have very much clear idea about the distribution of voltage across each disk, fine, and that distribution will are very uneven, fine. And similarly the distribution of field in this case will also be non-uniform. So the overall idea about what is the value of electrostatic field at any particular point, then after we can have the short answer about whether the flashover or the puncture of dielectric will happen or not. Where in suspension type insulator, the puncture phenomena is same as the breakdown, fine, or say the dielectric breakdown of insulator. So this is how different studies related to high voltage is started. So the only thing that is required is the dielectric strength of material, either it be gas, liquid, solid or anything, and the nature of field distribution. Okay. In a high voltage apparatus, the important materials used are conductors and insulators. The conductors carry the current while the insulators prevent the flow of current in undesired path. So this is the simplest understanding of insulator and conductors, and both are very essential in electrical engineering. Now let us talk about Poisson's and Laplace's equation. The electric stress to which an insulating material is subjected to is normally equal to the voltage gradient and is equal to the electric field intensity. Now what is the voltage gradient? Voltage gradient is nothing but the partial differentiation of potential with respect to distance. Okay, so if we have a distance x in x-axis and a voltage or potential distribution on y-axis, then the partial differentiation of voltage with respect to the distance is called the voltage gradient. So the thumb rule over here is that the electric stress at any point in the space or in the system is equal to, or if we are talking about an insulating material, then it will be equal to the voltage gradient. And with this fundamental rule and understanding, we are going to start our derivation. So field intensity, which is nothing but negative of gradient of voltage, fine. Here this capital E represents the electric field intensity. Actually intensity is a vector quantity, so we must put a cap on it. So E bar is electric field intensity, V is applied voltage, and lambda is the del operator, and the del operator is defined as lambda is equals to partial differentiation of the x component with respect to x plus partial differentiation of y component with respect to y plus partial differentiation of z component with respect to z. Okay, so this is the very fundamental equation from electromagnetic fields. Now we also know the relation that d bar, that is flux density, is equals to epsilon E bar. So flux density in any medium depends on the permittivity of the medium and the field intensity in the particular medium. So d bar is equals to epsilon E bar. This is also a very well-known equation in electrical engineering. So if we have the divergence of d, which is nothing but the volume charge density. So here the divergence of d is rho v. This is the point form of Gauss's law, if you remember. You may also refer my videos on electromagnetic fields, and you will have the detailed derivation of all these fundamental equations from there. So this is nothing but the point form of Gauss's law. So divergence of d bar is equals to rho v. Now we put d bar is equals to epsilon E bar. So divergence of epsilon E bar equals to rho v, and in place of E bar we are putting a negative of gradient of voltage. So divergence of epsilon multiplied by the negative of gradient of voltage is equals to rho v. Here rho v is nothing but the volume charge density. Volume charge density. So finally we can have del square v is equals to negative rho v upon epsilon. So here this negative sign and this epsilon both comes to the right hand side of the equation, and it will make like negative rho v upon epsilon. So this equation del square v is equals to negative rho v by epsilon is called the Poisson's equation, and which holds good for any insulator or conductor. But however, in most of the high voltage equipment, space charges are not present, or if we talk about any solid insulating material, then its volume charge density will be 0. So if the volume charge density rho v is equals to 0, then this Poisson's equation will be modified into the form of del square v equals to 0, and this equation, that is del square v equals to 0, is known as Laplace's equation. So Laplace's equation, if in the Poisson's equation we put rho v equals to 0, actually we are not putting rho v is equals to 0, but in case of insulators, rho v itself becomes 0. Okay, so del square v equals to 0 is the mathematical form of Laplace's equation, and the Laplace's equation in Cartesian coordinates is given as del square v, which is equals to the partial differentiation, second order partial differentiation of v with respect to x plus second order partial differentiation of voltage with respect to y plus second order partial differentiation of applied voltage with respect to z, which will be equals to 0. So we just have put the actual operation, del square operation, okay, which is nothing but the second order partial differentiation. So this may be asked in the exam in a very cute question of 3 or 4 marks. So, but what is the physical significance of these two equations are very important to understand. So physically, the equation represents the distribution of field in x, y and z direction, or we can say in a space. Fine. And the solution of these equations will give you the exact value of field stress at any particular point that we want. Okay, so Poisson's and Laplace equations are very essential equations, because in whatever software we are simulating any high voltage or dielectric strength related problems, at that time these equations are going to be solved in the back end of that program. Okay, so these two are very fundamental equations to determine the field stress at any point. Now since nebula dot nebula is a dot product of two vectors, this is a scalar quantity. So in Laplace's equation or Poisson's equation, both are the result of both the equations are scalar. Okay, now let us have some fundamental understanding about dielectric strength of a material. The most important material used in a high voltage apparatus is the insulation. The dielectric strength of an insulating material can be defined as the maximum dielectric stress which the material can withstand. It can also be defined as the voltage at which the current starts increasing to a very high values unless controlled by the external impedance of the circuit. So fundamentally, say we have an electrode over here, we have a solid insulating material. I'm not giving name, fine. And here we have another electrode. Now if I apply high voltage, say for example I have applied high DC voltage to these two electrodes, then what happen? As the voltage will increase, the insulating material will form some dipole. So, and this process is called the polarization of insulating material that you have already learned in the series of electromagnetic field. Fine. Now, if the amount of voltage or say value of voltage is increased, then what will happen? The bound electrons in this insulating material will get free, and as the electron will get free, it will be attracted towards the positively charged electrode, and the conventional current will start to flow even in a insulating material. So the ultimate or threshold value of voltage for which the current starts to increase in insulating material is called the breakdown strength or the dielectric strength of the material. Fine. So we should for any electrical appliances, once the operating voltage is known, then we must adopt or we must utilize a material which can withstand that amount of voltage without significant increase in the current. Fine. Once the current starts to flow in this dielectric material, we can say the breakdown has been occurred. Fine. So these are the two fundamental understanding of dielectric strength. Then the electric breakdown strength of insulating materials depends on variety of parameters such as pressure, temperature, humidity, field configurations, nature of applied voltage, imperfections in dielectric materials, then material of electrodes and the surface conditions of electrodes, etc. So there are huge parameters which affects the breakdown strength, either the material be solid or liquid or gaseous, anything. Fine. So the field of research in high voltage engineering is also very huge, very wide, so that one can perform anything new and can come to a conclusion that apart from these parameters, these much are also the affecting factors. Fine. So the research field, particularly in high voltage engineering and materials, is very hot. The most common cause of insulation failure is the presence of discharges either within the voids in the insulation or over the surface of the insulation. So sometimes we have seen a phenomena called as flashover, which occurs at the surface of insulators. So if I have a disc of insulator over here, now this metallic part will be at some voltage V1, this metallic part will be on some another voltage V2. Fine. Then if we have some carbon particles or ashes or dust particles deposited on the surface of the insulator, then there is a chances of flowing an electron from such short path from one metallic part to another, and this is called flashover. Fine. But if say when manufacturing of this disc was happening, some cavity or some void remained inside the material, then what will be happen? So the field is also distributed inside the dielectric material. Okay, so and that field, if we enlarge this portion over here, fine, so this is our void, this is the field in porcelain material, and from this boundary the field will get distracted. This is the law of refraction between two dielectric materials. We have already seen the boundary condition of two dielectric materials in the lecture series of electromagnetic fields. Okay, so in this portion now the E bar, the value of E bar has been increased, and it may happen that the dielectric strength of this void cannot sustain this much amount of voltage, and some local breakdown will start to occur. Fine. Once such local breakdown starts to occur, then these discharges will tentatively lead us to the global breakdown. Okay, so in solid insulating mediums, the most common cause of insulating failure is the discharge. So this discharge may be within the insulation or over the surface of the insulations. Ultimately, both kind of such discharge will lead to the global breakdown or say deterioration of the dielectric material. The probability of failure will be greatly reduced if such discharges could be eliminated at the normal working voltage. Then failure can occur as a result of thermal or electrochemical deterioration. Fine. Actually, when we will move further in this lecture series, we will learn each and every phenomena, each and every process in very much detail. Fine. Either it be gaseous medium or liquid medium or solid medium. Fine. But these are just the very basic understanding about the deterioration of any insulating material. Okay. Now, the electric field distribution and dielectric strength. So the field distribution has also a very huge role to play in the dielectric strength of the material. Okay, so it is often assumed that the voltage between two electrons may be adequately insulated by placing a homogeneous insulating material of breakdown strength EB. So here V is the voltage between electrodes, and EB is the breakdown strength of medium. Okay, then the necessary separation may then simply be calculated as D is equals to V by EB. Okay, so this will be the minimum separation that we should maintain between two metallic parts or two conductive parts, fine, in order to flow the current in our desired direction. Now, although the electrodes are usually well defined and limited in size, so this is very important that in high voltage engineering, the electrodes, shape of electrodes, materials of electrodes and sizes of electrodes are very standardized. Fine. Some countries have their own standards and many countries follow the international standard which is suggested by IEEE or any other popular journals or conferences. Now the condition Emax equals to EB would provide the optimal solution for the insulation problem. So fundamentally the thickness of insulation is also a very dominant parameter of designing in any electrical equipment. Okay. So here is a very fundamental practical. So we need to imagine a rod, and a rod is having a variable diameter. So you can adjust the diameter of this rod. See, it is a solid rod, and such experiment cannot be performed because we cannot have a solid rod with a variable diameter. Okay, so this is all just our imagination that this rod is having a variable diameter, and here is a flat plane which is connected to ground, and this rod is supplied with some voltage V. Fine. So we are going to see if the distribution of field changes, then also the D, or say the thickness of insulator, will be changed. Fine. So this will be our objective. Okay. So this is true when EB has a very specific value directly related to the actual field distribution and can be calculated for very well known insulating materials. However, for most solid and liquid dielectrics, such values are the only approximately known. Hence, a special approach is necessary to solve the insulation problem with fair accuracy. So now we will start our experiment. So figure represents a rod plane electrode configuration insulated by atmospheric air at atmospheric pressure. So we have maintained the physical parameters such as atmospheric temperature and pressure to the constant, whereas the gap length and the air density are assumed to remain constant. The diameter D of hemispherical shaped rod will change over a very wide range as indicated by the dashed line. Fine. So first it will be very thin in a shape of needle, we can say, and then the diameter will increase and it will have the shape like this. Okay. Two field quantities may be defined for rods of any diameter D. These are the maximum field strength E maximum at the rod tip and the mean value of field strength E mean, which will be equal to V by D. Fine. So for any diameter, the maximum field stress will always be at the tip of the rod. Okay, and we define as is a E max. Now with these two quantities, a field efficiency factor eta can be defined as eta is equals to E mean divided by E max. So having so, we will have V by D E max. Okay, so eta is field efficiency factor. Now if we increase the diameter, as you can see in this graph, then the voltage to occur a breakdown in the material also increase. That means if the rod is becoming much larger in diameter, then the dielectric strength of air, or say breakdown voltage of air, is increased. Say dielectric strength of any material will not get increase or decrease, fine, with the shape of electrode, but the shape of electrode will definitely change the distribution of field so that the breakdown voltage for the same medium will be increased, and that is the only reason that you will see the hemispherical shapes in every high voltage equipments of any transmission substation. Okay. Now in a more complex electrode arrangement, Emax may appear at any point on an electrode, not necessarily coinciding with the point providing the shortest gap distance. Now eta equals to unity or 100% if uniform field and it approaches to 0 for an electrode with an edge of 0 radius. Fine. So if the needle shaped electrode will be there, then the field distribution factor will be 0, and if two parallel plate will be there, then eta will be 1. Now If the breakdown of gap is caused by Emax only, then the breakdown voltage VB is to be obtained as VB is equals to dE max, or Emax is nothing but the dielectric strength of gas, or say in this case the air. So D into EB. Now this equation illustrates the concept of the field efficiency factor, as 1 is greater than eta is greater than 0 for any field distribution. It is obvious that field non-uniformities reduces the breakdown voltage. So in the nutshell, the more non-uniform the field is, the less is the breakdown voltage of any insulating medium. And if we are able to maintain the uniformity of field as high as possible, then we can have the higher value of breakdown voltage for even smaller value of separation or gap. In practice, the data on the dielectric stresses in the insulation materials used in high voltage equipment obtained by field analysis and must be supplemented by extensive tests in which the breakdown stresses are experimentally determined for similar insulation arrangement. So in general, we have a software called FEM. It is very basic software, but the scholars of high voltage engineering can use the software sufficiently. We can have the idea about the field strength inside any insulating material, but solely the result of any software or any simulation is not enough. We must have the result of extensive experiments on each and every material that is going to be used in a field. And the computation of stresses are not advanced in gaseous dielectric. So for gaseous dielectric particularly, see, because the randomness in the gaseous medium are so much higher that it is very complex to mathematically model the behavior of gas. Fine, because each and every another different atom will possess a different electrical characteristics. Okay. So in general, breakdown stresses are dependent upon the field distribution within high field regions for gaseous dielectrics. Thus, models representing only those regions in which high stresses occur are sufficient. So in actual practice, we do not need to study the whole space around high voltage equipment. Fine. If we just study the field of high stresses, then also it will be enough for us to design an appropriate scheme of insulation. Fine. This offers definite advantages apart from saving time and cost. So this is how fundamentally any engineer or any designer see about the design of insulating material, the thickness of material, the nature of material, etc., etc. Fine. We will see each and everything in very much detail once this series will progress. Thank you very much.